Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about how to make learning medical coding easier. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys. So, first things first, I want to say this first. I'm very excited to announce that finally, the paid version for the Independent Study Syllabus is out. You can order it in the description box below, okay? So this Independent Study Syllabus has been under construction for the last few months. I have been promising this, and it is finally done. It comes with the steps. If you want to learn medical billing and coding on your own, it comes with the steps, and it comes with the estimated weeks in each one of those steps. It comes with a recommended book list, and some of the books you are allowed to pick whatever book that you want as long as it's equivalent to that subject. For example, medical terminology. All medical terminology books are going to basically cover the same thing. So you have your choice. However, I do list my recommended versions of those books. And there's also a very comprehensive links list that has lots of other additional resources as well. So that is what you get if you're ordering the Independent Study Syllabus from me. Okay, so I'm just letting you know that that's out there. All right. So here's the thing. When it comes to learning medical billing and coding, a lot of people will ask me, where do I do? Where do I go? Where do I do? How do I get started? This lady commented on one of the Independent Study Syllabus videos that I had talked about the steps, right? And I had said, here's all the steps you got to go through in order to learn medical billing and coding on your own. So they wrote me this. I think this might be a dumb question, but do we need to buy all of these books? Correct? I started a course online certification, and I was lost by the second module. I'm interested in trying to do self-taught, but I'm a little overwhelmed with where to begin. As someone with very little experience in anything medical, I am just kind of lost as far as a game plan to how to be successful. And in the video, I literally went through every single step. Literally in the video. And so I said, it's not dumb. You're just not paying attention. I literally said every step that you need to study, and you're still sitting around asking questions. It is very easy once you start following the plan. Now, when you are learning medical billing and coding, the best thing that you can do and how you can make it easy for yourself is to first set yourself up on a schedule. You need to spend 20 hours per week studying. If you do not spend 20 hours per week studying medical billing and coding, it will take you a long time. You will be lost. You will not understand. You will get very frustrated with it. So if you are wanting to study this by yourself, or even through a program at the local college, or even online with AHIMA or AAPC, because both of them have their own online programs as well, you can totally take that route, but you need to put in 20 hours per week. It's very easy to hit 20 hours per week. You're doing 30 minutes at a time or 1 hour at a time. For example, in the morning, you're brushing your teeth, you could be listening to something. That's considered study time. Listening to videos, listening to any other audio books about medical billing and coding, working through workbooks, working with flashcards, doing those types of things, like working with puzzles and things like that, all of those are considered study time, okay? So just know that. But you're doing 30 minutes at a time or 1 hour at a time. You get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you're listening to something, that's 30 minutes. You are at lunch, you are using your flashcards for whatever subject that you're on, that's another 30 minutes. And then you're on your drive home, you could be listening to something. Everybody's got a Bluetooth in their car, okay? That's already an hour and a half of study. And then when you get home, you fix the kids their dinner, your old man, your old lady, whoever, the dogs, the cats, whatever. Then you go and you sit down for 1 hour and you study with your workbook, whatever book you're on, whatever subject you're on. Whether you're going through my Independent Study Syllabus, because I still leave those videos up, but if you want that written version, that's what's for sale in the description box. So if you're going through that, or if you're going through a program already, You could be working through your workbook. Every single program, you're working through some kind of workbook, okay? And then you take a break after that hour. You do not stay past 1 hour because you will not retain anything. Then you study for another hour, okay? Once you take your break, 10 or 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, and you come back to it, and then you study for another hour. That's 3.5 hours you did in one day. You do this consistently for 5 days at 17.5 hours, and then you do 2.5 hours on a Saturday or Sunday. So that's how you're going to do that, and that's how you're going to make your 20 hours in 1 week. And you're doing this for 9 months, 12 months, or 18 months, however long it's going to take you to learn medical billing and coding. And for my nurses that say, well, I'm a nurse and I already know all my medical terminology, it won't hurt you to review medical terminology, anatomy, and patho again. Because for a lot of you, you've been in certain specialties, so it's kind of taken away from like knowing about other body parts and things like that. So you want to make sure that you are just refreshing your memory. It won't take you that long. If you remember it, it will not take you that long, and it will not hurt you to review, okay? Because that's what a lot of this is when you're getting in, is of course knowing your medical terminology. But again, a lot of these words kind of sound the same: coracoid and coronoid, okay? Perineum and perineal, get confused. We saw that, okay, on the Instagram, okay, I'm just saying. But there's things that need to be reviewed, all right? So if you are thinking that you're coming from the medical field and that you can just bypass anatomy, medical terminology, pathophysiology, you think you can bypass all that, you're wrong. You need to study it again. And yes, I'm going to be very direct. If you don't like it, trust me, there's plenty of other people who will happily give you all the sugar and sweet stuff that you want. But here on my channel, I talk very directly, because when I have tried to be, oh, so sweet and so nice, people don't listen, and they ask the same questions over and over. So if I got to you just enough to say, well, I don't need to do that, well, she said, well, then you just got my message then. So that's the whole point. So that's the thing. Review your medical terminology and all that. These are very simple steps that you have to do, okay? And in my Independent Study Syllabus videos where I'm talking about the steps, that's where you can get your kind of direction. But it's also about just putting in the time. There's also a lot of people that want to sit here and, oh, where do I write my notes, and how do I highlight, and how do I tab? You don't need to do any of that. All you need to do is just literally sit there with a notebook. Get yourself a notebook. Go to the Dollar Tree, go to Walgreens, CVS, wherever, your local grocery store, and get those cheap notebooks, and get you some good pens. And that way you have something to sit there with and write stuff down with. Because you can't learn everything on an app. If you're so, oh, well, where's the app? Where's the app? This is not an app channel either. I don't believe in all of that. I believe in the good old fashioned way. You see all these books back here? That's what I believe in. Actually sitting with books and working things out, but keeping it simple in the fact that, hey, we have a 20-hour per week schedule that we got to work. We got to do our schoolwork during this time. You get your book, whatever book that you're on, whether it's medical terminology or it's an anatomy and physiology or whatever book that you're on, you get that book, you look at how many chapters you need to go over in that book. And then you take the time to say, okay, well, if this book, let's just say for simplicity's sake, that book has 10 chapters. You know that you want to get through this in roughly 2 months. Okay, you want to get through that book in 2 months? Or you say, well, I need at least 2 months so that I can just take my time with it. And you can probably get through it faster than 2 months. But just to kind of get yourself started and get yourself going, 10 chapters in 2 months, that's a little over a chapter a week, okay? That you're going through, you're reading the chapter, you're working out those questions, you're using flashcards to kind of help you along the way. You're using other resources like videos as well to supplement your understanding of that particular subject for that chapter. And then that's how you move on to the next chapter. And you're doing this consistently throughout however many books you need to work through, okay? So that's how you set that up. You know you need to go a little over a chapter per week. Well, if you know that there's a chapter that's short and then you can double up on one of those chapters, during the week because it's not really going to affect you because the chapters were kind of short, then that's okay too. You can do it that way. But just keep it simple. Look how many chapters there are in that book. Look at the calendar and you say, okay, I want to do this in 1 month. I need to do this in 2 months. I need to do this in 3 months. And so that way you can divide the chapters up by week. So that way you know this is a chapter I'm working on this week. And then also I'm going to augment my studies for this particular chapter with videos about this subject or with articles about this subject or something else, okay? If you want to add, which I recommend, once you start like with your medical terminology you've covered and you completed that book, then you move on to the next subject that you start adding on 2 subjects per week. Then you get to 3 subjects per week. 3 subjects, I think you should stop right there, okay? And what I mean by 3 subjects is 3 different tasks. So let's just say, for example, you're working on medical terminology, but you say, well, Blue, I heard about your Blue and Friends Coder Challenge for 2026, which is to read the ICD-10 CM coding guidelines in their entirety 4 times in the month of October. It starts October 1 because that is our coding new year. So I heard about your challenge, Blue, and I want to do that too, but I'm studying medical terminology. So I think I'm going to do part in it. That's the second subject that you could be working on in 1 week. Because yes, it's going to take you a few days to go through the guidelines, to read everything, okay? But you have a schedule. You know what to do. This is me giving you some direction, okay? Because there's some of you that just standing around like this. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I could tell you to start with medical terminology. I could tell you to start with anatomy. I could tell you to start with patho. I could tell you all these things, but you're just standing around. So get the book. Look how many chapters it has. Divide those chapters up by week. If you want to do 2 chapters in a week, because you say, I'm not doing anything right now. I think I can spend a little bit more time with this. Okay, let me do 2 chapters. That's going to be my goal. And then we're going to take a calendar. You can get any old regular calendar you want to. And you can write down, I'm going to do chapters 1 through 2 for the first week. Okay, and then the next week is going to be 3 to 5. And then from chapter 6 to 9. You know what I mean? Like whatever you want to do, however you want to set that schedule up, but that way you can see and it is something reasonable. Now again, I recommend you start your first week off, if you're studying on your own, with 1 subject. Your first month, really, not the first week, but your first month you're going to start with 1 subject, whatever it is. Medical terminology, okay, we're going to concentrate and focus on that. And then the next month we're going to start to go to the next subject and we're going to add on a different task. And then after we feel strong with that, we're going to add on another task. So we got 3 tasks going, okay? Max out at 3 different tasks. So if it is your subject, whatever subject you're on, and then the guidelines again, okay? And then if it is that you need to, let's just say you got done studying medical terminology, you went through a whole workbook on medical terminology, and you say, Blue, I still don't feel confident in this. That's okay. What are you going to do? You're going to go back and you're going to review that again, okay? You can go back through, you can get a different workbook if you want to and see if that will help you, or incorporate more videos about medical terminology and anatomy and that kind of thing. Just something that kind of help you. Because even though you've already completed a subject, it's okay to keep studying that subject, all right? And if you say, well, I'm going to spend, 5 hours, I'm going to add on like an hour a day doing that for the week. And then, I'm also going to do my other subjects. That will kind of help you to like, okay, get stronger with that medical terminology or get stronger with that anatomy. Or if abbreviations is hanging you up, right? Okay, well, I know I can study for the abbreviations as well. You can get that. You can practice with those and you can set the time, okay? And you're going to see how getting through all of your schedule, when you have it scheduled out, is going to help give you that guidance and direction. Please don't write to me telling me how, oh no, you need to go to a school in order for somebody to give you direction on what to do because you don't trust yourself. I don't like comments like that. Why? because you are going to go into a field that is very self-directed. If you are not studying like you're supposed to, no one is going to come in and save you. What will end up happening to you is that you will end up with bad audits, and you will eventually end up losing your job because you're not competent, because you're not taking the time on your own to study. And if you say, well, Blue, I am taking my time, I am studying on my own, but I still don't understand. Okay, so this is when you need to reach out for help. You can go on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a wonderful platform if it is used properly. Oh, LinkedIn. So if you go on LinkedIn and you post that, you're looking for a mentor in medical coding because you have some questions, or maybe you are just posting the question, not complaining, but you're just posting the question, you may find people who will take the bite and help you and be like, oh yes, it's this, it's that. That's how you start building your network and start, finding people to connect with. So you do something like that, and that will help you that way. Or if you need to spend a few dollars and get a tutor, trust me, there's tutors at all price points. Okay, I'm a tutor myself. My rate and contact is in the description box below. But there are also tutors on LinkedIn. Okay, so you can ask for a recommendation. Who do you recommend for tutoring? And you will find people who will recommend all kinds of services. For me, and the way that I run it is, I do not make you pay for a certain amount of tutoring sessions. You want to book one session with me, that is totally fine. You want to book a session with me and then see from there if that you want to continue on with me, that is totally okay too, because hiring a tutor is a luxury, and I understand that. So I'm not going to sit here and force people to be like, oh yes, you have to book 5 sessions with me in order to book with me. That's ridiculous. I'm going to let you decide, because I don't know you. I don't know your knowledge base. I don't know what your problem is until you're speaking with me and we're meeting and we're getting to the heart of your issues. Now, I will not meet with people beforehand to discuss what do we need and what this and what that. No, if you need a tutor is somebody who can explain things to you, then yes, absolutely. You book with me and we'll go over your problem. Okay? But not anything else. It's not, well, let's meet beforehand and then we'll discuss and decide. No. And then please don't send me your phone numbers either, because I don't call people. Everything's by email, okay? But the Zoom meetings are live. You'll see me on the camera. So, but yes, that's what I do. And I have my books here, and if you're booking a tutoring session with me, I expect you to come with questions, okay? Because tutoring is not for me to assign you homework and then you complete it and we discuss it. That is not this, okay? Tutoring is where you have questions and I have the answers, or I will give you resources to help supplement your studies. So if I know of any, okay? So that is the thing there, just so you know. But yes, just keep it simple, guys. That's all you have to do. There is no need to sit here and tab and highlight and write and do all this garbage to your books. I always recommend that you instead take the time to look at your books. A lot of people are so distracted with all the writing and the highlighting and the tabs. Oh no, Blue, I need them. You do not need them. You do not need them. You are being sold the lie that is that you need them. Oh, good, you need to do this, you need to do that. No, what's wrong with good old-fashioned study? That's what you need to do. That's why I say no app will save you in this instance. These exams, these medical coding certification exams, are about competence. And how do we do that? By taking the time to go through these books and to actually work through them, okay? And that's just what I'm going to say there. Well, Blue, I heard about evaluation and management. It's so scary. It's not scary. And I even have a separate study syllabus for evaluation and management coding. I tell you the book to get, and I tell you how to structure the weeks and what to do, what to practice with that week and things like that. And that is also available in the description box below. That is just a document, though. I want to be very clear about that. It is not a class. It is not an in-person class. I'm just saying, although I never said that, and it's not there, but This one lady thought it was a class. No, it is not a class. Okay, I'm just being very clear about that. But yes, so that's what you do when you're learning medical billing and coding. This is not rocket science. This is being disciplined. This is actually going through your books, studying and learning. It is listening to advice. When I talk about independent study, right? Here on the channel, I talk about it, right? And so when you're going through your books and you're working through that, you should not be focused on anything else. This is the other thing that gets me, is when people tell me, well, Blue, I know you said to get this book and that book and do this and do that, but what else do you have? Did you even do the things that I advised first? Did you even study the medical terminology or the anatomy first? Well, no, but I just wanted to know, what else do you have? Absolutely not. If you can't do that, I will not share anything else. I will not, because you're not ready for that. All the things and the advice that I have given is structured in a way that it's going to build on each other, right? And that's any good program, any good syllabus, any good study plan is going to build on each other. So if you are not following directions, that's when you're going to run into problems. Because for those of you who just jump right into the coding and then now you're lost because there's two words that kind of sound the same and you don't know where on the body this is. What body system is this in? What does this organ do? What systems should I be in? Am I supposed to be in the respiratory system? Am I supposed to be in cardio? Where am I supposed to be? And again, you don't know that if you don't know your medical terminology. And again, that's why I have always stressed that this is the way that you should be learning. Okay? This is the way that you should be learning. So that's just my advice anyway. If you go into a program and you say, Blue, I need to supplement, and you're listening to my video, or you want to order the Independent Study Syllabus from me, that's totally fine. Because it's going to give you that roadmap that this is going to build on this, and this is going to build on this, and this is going to build on this. But you're putting in that time, that's what's going to help you to learn. And you focus on whatever subject that you're covering at that time. Okay? So if you're focused on medical terminology, that's what you're focused on. You don't need to be worried about learning about HIPAA. You don't need to be worried about learning ICD-10-CM or CPT or PCS. You don't need to be worried about that. You need to be working on that subject. So then that's how you start to stay focused on what you got. Because trust me, this field is a lot about concentration. It is not as easy as these schools try to sell it. And these schools will sell you a dream. They will tell you, oh yes, it's so easy, and the electronic health record, it already does it, and you no, AI is dumb. For those of you who really believe in AI, it is dumb. It cannot critically think. It cannot critically think. That is why we have jobs. And they have been going on about, oh, AI, since I started, and I became a medical coder in 2008. I am still here, 17 years down the road in my wonderful career. Now I'm trying to pay it forward and help the next generation of medical coders that's coming up, because you all are the future stewards of this information, of health information. And it's going to make a difference on if you care or not. And caring and making sure that you are competent is a huge deal in this. This is not about, oh, I went through school and I know all this. If you are not continually studying, therein lies your problem. Okay? So that's how we make it easier, is doing one thing at a time to start. Then we add no more than 3 subjects or 3 tasks to do for the week. We set our 20 hours per week. We are studying for 30 minutes at a time, up to 1 hour at a time. This time is time that is in between things, right? And it's not going to be where you're having to study for hours on end, okay? Because there's always going to be somebody around you, around in your house is going to start complaining, and then you're going to start questioning whether you should continue to do this or not, and when you should. Because believe it or not, your kids are watching you. For my parents, Your kids are watching you. So if they see you easily give up, that means that they are going to easily give up on whatever it is that they're doing. Do you want that for them? I don't think so. Any good parent is going to want their kids to succeed and be strong and do what they need to do. They need to see you doing that. And so even though you're getting frustrated, there's plenty of resources out there. Visit the public library so that way you can find other resources to help you for whatever subject that you need. And then watch videos on YouTube about medical terminology. There's tons of them, and even anatomy as well. They've got great videos. Okay, so you're going to keep it simple. You are going to work through your workbooks. You're going to break them down by weeks, however many weeks you need to cover for this particular subject. If you get stuck on something, put a pin in it and come back to it, which means that you're going to put a pause on that chapter if it wasn't, really connecting in your mind. It's okay. Just put a pause on that. Go to the next chapter if you need to, and then come back to that chapter when you're ready. Okay? That's all you have to do, guys. It is very, very easy. This is not hard, all right? And you're making it harder on yourself if you sit there and you spin your wheels and you talk about how you're not disciplined. No, you're making excuses and you're procrastinating until you get to what you need to be doing, okay? And if this upsets you, well, it was personal then, wasn't it? Because it's not a personal thing if you know that it's true, right? I'm just saying. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. But again, guys, this is not difficult when it has already been laid out for you, especially when you're either in a program or you're doing the self-study, okay? When I first started my channel here on YouTube, there was no other independent study syllabus. I was the very first to come out with it. And it has helped people be successful in their medical coding journeys because they actually listened to what I said and followed the advice instead of sitting there questioning, well, what do I do now? It is there. Don't question it. Just go with it. It's just my advice anyway. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.